Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. This is Iona at Wren House Studio, and I am your host for our current free 8-day JumpStart Your Creativity Challenge. The information that we're going to be sharing here for this 8 days is for you. It's a gift. It's so that you can look at what's going on in your life as a creative person and see, sense, and feel where could you use a little bit of a stronger connection. You know, we have a little cabin off the grid, and I've had to learn over the last while how to manage being off the grid by working with batteries and inverters and charging my electronics, my phone and my laptop computer when I'm off the grid using the inverter and the batteries. And I've blown up 2 inverters. It took a while for me to get the message that you've got to make sure that you attach the positive to the positive port and the negative to the negative port when you're connecting the inverter to the battery. I'm a little dyslexic and things get switched around for me from time to time. And so I had to replace 2 inverters, and they're a little bit of an investment, which brought me to the idea of jump-starting our creativity. This is a very exciting idea because there's a lot of pressure on us right now, and a lot of distractions, a lot of disruptions, a lot of overwhelm. Everywhere we look, there's a tremendous amount of intensity, and rightly so. We want to be engaged, but rightly so, we also want to be positively connected to our potential. I like to call us possibilitarians. And there's so much possibility. And we also want to be aware of the negative charge in our lives. We don't want to be head in the sand or pie in the sky. So our 8-day challenge is very reality based, and it's going to give you an opportunity. We'll talk about materials in a moment. In our first session here, we're doing basically an orientation along with our very first prompt. There will be 8 prompts, and each day the prompts, they consecutively unfold. However, you being a creative person, you're going to be able to switch it up and work it through so that you can maybe use the first prompt in your experience that comes through on our 4th day. Or you might want to use the consecutive 1st through 8 prompts as they're appearing. It doesn't matter, because they're all going to give you focus. Each prompt is going to give you a jump start. Each prompt is going to connect you to your positive possibility as a possibilitarian at this point in time, and a lot of alliteration there. And we're going to also recognize that, yeah, there's a drag on us right now. There's things that make us feel like it's all too intense for me to be able to take the time to really devote to my own creativity, my own need to express myself, my own voice. So we're going to really address each and all of those aspects of the challenge of being capable of jump starting our creativity so that we can move forward without a lot of stops and starts. No stalling. As we like to say at Wren House Studio, don't get stuck. Do not get stuck. And so we're going to be looking at ways in which we can recognize, oh, I'm stuck. Let me take an action that allows me to sense into, who am I being right now? This is a really important piece of the prompt for our first day together. We're only going to be spending about 15 minutes each day on our videos. And with that 15 minutes, you download the video to your computer. You make the video your own. Make a little folder on your desktop, and each day you deposit the video for the day into that folder. At the end of the 8 days, you're going to have a go-to, a place that you can return to, because we all get stuck. We all stall out. There are situations and circumstances that jump into our path that we could never have anticipated, and we don't know when those are going to happen. And it's not to be paranoid, it's just to recognize that's life. Life brings us surprises, some that we want and some that we do not want. So these 8 days are going to be a very lovely way to take 15 minutes each day, or you can save all these videos up and attend to them when you feel like, I'm ready now. I think it's time for me to just take this, put the focus on me, place my interest in what do I have to express at this point in time. So it's really a gift to you to accept these 8 days of videos and use them as you choose to. I like to remind us that a lot of what we do here at Wren House Studio is aligning ourselves with natural circadian rhythms of the cycles of the seasons. And that gives us a lot of opportunity to consider that sometimes we really do get stuck at certain times of the year. Maybe we know when those are. Maybe we're just going to begin to ferret that out for ourselves. Oh yeah, years ago I realized that, gosh, I would work and work and work and I'd create a vast number of paintings. And then I didn't have any paintings in me and I'd get very, very concerned. I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to paint again. Where did all my inspiration and my impetus and my motivation, where did it go? And eventually I sat down and I actually tracked my creative process. And I began to notice that there was actually a rhythm through the year. And I didn't have to concern myself. I didn't have to have worry about never being creative again. And as our week unfolds, we're going to really dive into some golden nuggets of insight and inspiration, one step at a time, looking at the 8 steps in jumpstarting our creativity. And in each of the steps, you're going to be able to extrapolate the meaning from the myth in your own life. So let's get started. First thing we want to talk about is materials. And when we're doing a challenge, it seems to me it can be useful to have a format. And so for the challenges, which are different from our other online courses, for each challenge, we make the simplest choices for materials. So for example, you can go to the office supply store and get a packet of these unlined index cards. Cardstock, white is good because you're going to be adding your own marks on the paper and making your own notations and your own little cryptic glyphs and such like as each of our 8 steps unfolds. And so just a basic set of unlined index cards, thinking I'm making a set of flashcards. And so the flashcards will be the result. And those flashcards can be placed into a sleeve or a wonderful old cardboard cigar box or some such location, so that at the end of the 8 days, your flashcards are given a place of honor. Your other materials are very simple. Drawing pencils, any type you choose. Perhaps I love these Sharpie pens because they don't bleed through, not that they would bleed through the cardstock, but we're also going to be engaged in journaling. So I like these Sharpie pens. I think I like them a lot. And I use a fine point Sharpie pen, just giving you some ideas for your materials. Also, you can go to the dollar store and get yourself a basic set of colored markers. Water-based markers are excellent. And maybe even a little pan of watercolor color paints if you like to brush your colors on. So very simple materials. If you don't feel like going out to get something, you can use your printer's paper and just fold it in half, and it'll give you this approximate size of the index cards. So those are our materials. Along with your journal, you'll be all set. Nothing special is really important when we want to jumpstart our creativity. The last thing we need to do is to think about having to go and order some kind of special stuff. So this is simple. We also want to bring into our 8-day challenge the idea, the concept that within us is everything we've ever needed since the moment we were born. And that includes an inner creative child. And I like to imagine that we are each able to access and relate with our inner 6-year-old, healthy, joyful, playful, adventurous, even risk-taking 6-year-old within us. So these would be our basic materials for our 8-day challenge. As we begin the challenge, we want to imagine that we are starting with our first step. Here it is, day 1, orientation, materials and supplies, basic concept of what our 8-day challenge provides for us. In other words, we're going to be gaining and collecting tools, which we will each be designing on our own as a result of the prompt. Here's a good place for me to mention also, you don't have to take my prompt as I offer it to you, because each of us comes complete with inner teachers, inner guides. I like to call my team my angelic board of advisors. We have archetypes. We have aspects of our conscious and our unconscious mind that want nothing more than to work in tandem to support us, to create what? That's step 1. What are we going to create? Carl Jung says, if you have nothing to create, you can at least create yourself. Now, that's a wonderful way to come into this challenge in and of itself. Who am I being today? It's always a really exciting point of entrance. Who am I being? That's a doorway to walk through, because we don't want to be human doings. We want to be human beings. And we want that B and that E to be capitalized. Who am I being today? Who am I being in my heart? Who am I being in my orenda, my gut? What am I midwifing from my midsection? What am I midwifing, giving birth to at this point in my time, in my life? Who am I being? We want to be able to be before we attend to the do. So one of the things that we can enlist, and here's prompt number 1, one of the things that we want to list, step 1 in our 8 steps to jumpstart our creative process, is the dream that we carried in with us at birth. And each of us did have a dream. And each of us does have a way of reconnecting to that dream. And so in our day 1, we simply want to be aware of our dream. And that's not easy. I mean, I've done this work for years, and I have been working with groups for, well, over 30 years. I've been working with groups, and we would work with the idea of giving birth to a dream. And I'd come back to my studio and I think, what is my dream? What is my dream? It took me a long time. So there's no rush, there's no hurry, and it's not necessarily going to activate, each of these steps is not necessarily going to activate an instantaneous, oh, I got it. This is a process. You're going to create a set of flashcards, and you're going to be able to return to those flashcards as often as you choose to begin to prime the pump or attach the cables, positive to positive, negative to negative, and really get a sense of where you're going at this moment in time. So to just ask ourselves, first step is what am I dreaming to accomplish? What am I dreaming to give birth to? What am I dreaming of as my next step in my life? It's useful to put a horizon line on our work. So this can be really exciting to think about over the next 6 weeks. Just over the next 6 weeks, what's my dream for the next 6 weeks? If I don't know my dream today, that's okay. We can take some time. We can take our first index card and we can simply ask ourselves, what's my dream? What am I dreaming of? Who am I dreaming myself into being. However we would like to phrase it, it's absolutely our own individual choice. But on this small blank sheet of paper, we might ask, even, did I dream this? And look at our life right now. Just look at where we're at and what we're up to and who we are being. So step one is really acknowledging that it all begins. Every goal, every idea, every inspiration, every relationship, every possibility in our life begins with a dream. And it could be a literal night dream. It could be a literal daydream. It could be simply focusing on the concept of my dream. What is my dream? Our dreams change as we unfold in our life. The dream that we had when we were 10 morphs into the dream that we usually lose when we're 20, comes back when we're in our mid-30s. We dream, dream, dream. I recall thinking that if I did not, at the age of 20, I thought, I give myself 10 years. If I have not accomplished my dream by the time I'm 30, I have to realize it's never going to happen. Well, I've never given up on my dream. My dream has been to make my life my masterpiece, that as an artist, everybody's always looking at the masterpieces in the museum. And my dream is to create my life as my masterpiece. So it isn't an object, it isn't a thing, it's my life. So that when I'm lying on my deathbed and I do my life review before I leave this physical body, this beautiful vehicle called my body, when it's time for me to leave my body, I want to be able to look back over my life and just recognize that what I was most interested in, my dream, was to be at peace, which brings us to our dedication for all of the work that we do here at Wren House Studio and for the work that we're doing here in our 8-day challenge. As we're jumpstarting our creativity and taking our first step into just asking the question, what do I dream my life to be at this moment in time? Without worrying if nothing comes immediately, just asking the question, going for a long walk and asking the question, looking at the trees, watching the clouds, seeing if you can find a body of water to just watch the element, the air element move over the water element. It's always so useful to connect with the air and the water in our life, to just breathe in. And remind yourself that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your educational background, no matter what your financial situation, no matter where you live geographically, who you live with, the bottom line is that you simply want to be happy. You simply want more peace in your life. And you simply want to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And that is a very, very worthy dream in and of itself. We want to dream the dream on our first step in jumpstarting our creativity. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, all you're going to do is make some notes for yourself. You're going to journal to yourself, so you can write page after page after page. You can review your life, and you can recognize that you've had dreams at different times in your life. Are those dreams still functional? Do they still feel like a fit? If not, no worries. You can actually visualize a big old blackboard, you know, like the old blackboards in the schools when we were often growing up. And you can just erase all those old dreams and make space, just make space for a new dream to come and meet you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember that you don't have to do anything right now other than gather your materials and take in this material and then save it to your computer and make a folder for the 8 days, the 8 steps to jumpstart your creativity. I look forward to tomorrow. Yay. So glad you're here.